In this video, we will make this instant messaging app. As you can see, I can go ahead and say whatever message I want. So how are you? And it will be instantly sent, instantly updated in our database. I have a list of all of the chats here. And then I also can click here all chats, and these are all of the users in our app, and we can click any user to send a message. It will open the chat with that user or create a new chat. We have all of the chats in our database, and you will learn how to build any additional functionality on top of this. So whatever you want to add, change here, you will be able to do after watching this video. If you are interested, check out my website levelupnow.dev, where I offer one-on-one coaching, group coaching, etc. And you will learn to build platforms like YouTube, Netflix, Shopify, etc. And I have also a school community. Just check it out. Let's start as always by creating a new repository. I will name it Next14 Instant Messaging App, and I will set public and license to be MIT. You can use this repository and create a repository. Then I will go code and then HTTP and copy this link. And here in the folder where I want to place it, I will just say cmd and open this path and then git clone. This you should have git, of course. If you don't know what it is, just Google it and how to install. Then I will enter this newest folder that I just created and say cmd. So if I Google Next.js and I go here in installation, I will just go ahead and copy this and paste it here. npx create next app latest. Sorry, I made a mistake. You need to write this function and then add dot to the end so it installs in this current folder. And here in installation of Next.js, you need to have Node.js, this version or later. If you don't have it, install it. While the CMD is setting up, let's go to clerk.com and go to our dashboard. And I'm gonna create a new app. So this is gonna be our authentication. And this will be instant messaging app. We will have Google and email, create the app. So we can select Next.js and continue in the documentation. We will use app router, and we're gonna install this, but after, not now. So let's just go back to our CMD. Would you like to use Typescript? Yes. Would you like to use slint? Yes. I explained all of this in the video that I mentioned. We don't want source. We want app router. That's a new router. We don't want to change import alias. And that is it. It's just going to download the package. While this is downloading, let's go here in JWT templates in Clerk and add a new template for Convex. So this will allow us to connect this user authentication of Clerk to Convex database. So we will use Convex. So don't change this name, don't change anything, and just save changes. So now we can just go where we installed this and we can start a new CMD, and I'm gonna say code dot to open this folder in VS Code editor. Now let's add ShadCN component. So just go here to ShadCN and I'm gonna say docs, installation, Next.js, and here we already created the next app. So now we need to do npx ShadCN UI at latest install, copy the npm. So ShadCN are components. You have this alert component, avatar component, card component, and these are not component libraries. These will be copy-pasted into your code, so we will have absolute control over this. Next.js is taking a bit too long for some reason, but let's continue. So if we go here in the app, this is all of our code. And I want to go here into layout. And here we can see the children. So these children, this is our whole application. And we're going to have to wrap these children into Clerk client provider and Convex client provider. Clerk will provide the authentication and Convex will provide the database. So once the Next.js installs, we're going to go to the same this file path and just paste the npx ShadCN UI at latest in it. Now I don't know if we already did this in this video because I did it once and I had to interrupt it, so just do it again. we can actually make a new terminal at the same place and just run npm run dev to run this app. While this is running, let's code client provider and database provider for our app. So let's go outside of the app folder, click on any outer folder, and just make a new folder, providers, and that's gonna be it. And inside of that new folder, providers, create a new file, convex-client provider.ts. Or actually, sorry, it's tsx. So in this file is going to contain both clerk and convex client providers. And then we're gonna just use this to wrap the children. So let's create this. So first we're gonna use client. So this will be a client component. And before we continue with this component, I just wanna show you how we will use it. So in the layout tsx, go here where we have children. And we are gonna create a convex client provider component and wrap the children with this. So we don't have this yet created, so we will create it. Let's go back into creating this component. Go here and then next. Let's import loading. This is a loading screen that we will create. We don't have it yet. And then import clerk provider and use auth from clerk Next.js. We don't have this yet, so we will install this as well. Import auth loading authenticated and then unauthenticated. Those are three states that we will use to check if user is authenticated or not, or the state of the authentication. And convex React client, all of that from convex React. We will install this as well. And then convex provider with clerk from convex React-clerk. Okay, now let's create the interface. Convex client provider props. Those will be the children, because we will be wrapping, we will putting children into our component, and these children, this is our whole app. So these are the children. It's gonna be React node. And then let's create const convex URL. It's gonna be process.env next public convex URL. That's URL of our database. We did not set this up yet, but we will. Next, const convex is equal to new convex React client, and then pass in convex URL. So we will initialize new convex React client and store that into convex variable. Export const convex client provider. And that's gonna be equal. So this is a component convex React provider, convex client provider that we are gonna export for here. So it's gonna get some children, the children that we are passing. And the type of these children will be this interface that we defined. So after that, let's make a return statement. So we will use clerk provider. This is for authentication. And then we will say convex provider with clerk, so convex and clerk database and our authentication. And use auth will be use auth from clerk that we imported. And client will be convex client that we initialized here. So if the authentication is loading, then we will show our loading component. If user is authenticated, we will pass children. And if user is unauthenticated, we will also pass children. But why do we need two different states? So just because if the user is loading, we want to pass loading. So we also need to distinguish between all three then. Because if I removed like this and all of this, so it's only children, then it would display this and children, but I don't want it to display children. I want to display children only if it's not loading. So this is the file. Let's save it. And now let's go here and import it like this. The problem is we don't have these packages, so let's install them. And once we install them, we will have our database and authentication set up. So let's set it up. First, let me continue with my ShadCN installation. So this is the npx ShadCN UI latest init that we ran. And then which style would you like? I want default. color slate, I use slate or neutral usually. We don't want this, yes. And just wait for a few moments. And ShadCN is set up. I will show you what those components do, but first let's set up Clerk and Convex. And while we are setting up Clerk and Convex, I just want to add some ShadCN components. So let's go here to button. This is the button. I want to add this component to my code, so I will just go here and copy this. So let me paste it here. npx ShadCN-UI add latest add button. I also want to add dialog. I want to add sonar input. Let's keep it like this for now. If I remember any other that I need, I will just add them. So let's just paste it here and run. And if you are wondering about these components, just go here and read. So sonar, what is sonar? Sonar is this like notification. So we're gonna add this component. So I'm gonna Google Convex Next.js setup, and then I will just go here to Next.js quick start. So we created Next.js app. By the way, guys, if you wanna be good developers, you should learn to read documentation. So we seeded into the Next.js app that we created as well. And then we need to npm install convex. So I don't have any terminal, so let me start a new terminal here. cmd. This is a wrong folder, so it's this one. And then here, start a new terminal and npm install convex. After that, we will just have to run npx convex dev, and it will run. So if you are running this for the first time, it will prompt you to log in to connect your account. But since I am not, it's asking me, would you like to create a new project or use existing project? So if we go to convex.dev and log in, you can see a list of projects here that I have. I have these 3 projects, so I can have up to 5 projects on a free tier. So let me create a new project. The name, I'm gonna just keep this recommended name. And that should be it. It should appear here. Okay, so we have a new project. Let's go here. Here we can see our functions that we will create, our data. We can create a table, but we will do it not programmatically, not like this. Files that we can upload, scheduling, cron jobs, for example, renew subscription or whatever every 30 days. And then logs, and also environment variables go here. Then let's Google convex and clerk setup. So we already created this clerk account. We did all of this. We created JWT template. And then we need to go to convex and create this file, auth config.ts. Let's go to our code, convex, and it's gonna be auth config.ts, and just paste this. No, not that. Let's paste this, so copy the code here and paste it. And we need to change this with our clerk issuer account. So let's go to clerk dashboard. We, here in JWT tokens, the token that we created. So this convex name must be the same as this name. And then we will copy here issuer, copy, and we will just paste the issuer here. So now that's how we connect clerk and convex. And also you need to click here, save changes, because changes will not be saved in clerk. And then one more quick thing, we never installed this package, npm install at clerk next.js. So let's copy this. So here you can see in our client provider, we don't have this package. So let me go to a new terminal. Our buttons and stuff installed here, so let me just install this as well. And while this is installing, let me just comment out this loading state because we don't have it yet. So I want to first show you how all this works without it. There should be no more errors. I recommend you, so we are running npm run dev here, so we need to go to localhost 3000, copy this. If I go here, and now once you start loading, then it's gonna start compiling it. So the first problem we can notice here is Clerk Next.js missing publishable key. So what I forgot to do is here in Next.js setup, we need to scroll a bit down, and here where we have this n.local, we need to copy these two keys and go here to our code and just look for, I can press Ctrl P and search for .env.local. Oh, here. And then just paste it down below like this and save it. Those are our keys. So if I go ahead and refresh this, but it will have to also compile. So we were gonna wait for a few moments. And our app is working. So I skipped a bunch of like this documentation because we did this already. I showed you how to use Clerk Provider. Now the problem here is the website is just displaying everything. It should ask me to authenticate, not just display everything. This is because we didn't add this middleware. So we need to add this middleware file to control like authentication. So go to the like some outside folder outside of everything, and then make a middleware.ts. This is a reserved name. It must be outside of app folder. And then inside of middleware, let's just copy this code and paste it like this. So we will, so public routes, anyone can visit these routes, but we will make it empty for now. And ignore routes, no auth in this route. So anybody can visit public routes and ignore routes. So if I say /about, anybody can visit this. The difference between public and ignored is public is still checking if the user is authenticated, but even if the user is not authenticated, he can still visit. But ignore route is not even checking if user is authenticated. So let's just keep it like this. I want users to be authenticated when visiting anything in my app. And now if I refresh my app, it will ask me to sign in. So I can continue with Google right here, create an account. And I will just continue. And now I am signed in, and okay, so there is one error. Let me click here and see. I think this is just like some kind of bug because there is nothing shown here. So let me refresh this error again. So because I'm not sure what to do, this error doesn't say anything and this console doesn't say anything. So let me actually just interrupt my npm run dev and run it again. Maybe we need to do that if we are adding middleware and stuff. Another important thing is Next.js will not automatically pull, like refresh your website. So you need to refresh your website just when you are first running npm run dev first time. And after that, all of the updates you make in your code will be automatically updated on your website. Okay guys, the problem seems to be that you cannot copy your keys from here from documentation. You actually need to go to dashboard. And in your app that you created, you need to go into API keys and copy them from here because they are different. So let me copy those keys from my dashboard, not from documentation, and paste it. Yeah, you see they are different. And now I think it's going to work. If I go here, I'm gonna npm run dev again. And now it's asking me to continue with Google again because I don't know what I even logged in, like which account, which keys. So I checked in our Clerk dashboard into users, and there was no users, but I logged in, so I signed up. So I don't know how there was no users, and then I figured out I had wrong keys. Let me sign up with Google. And now that we signed up, there is no more errors in here in users. Let me just refresh this. We will have a new user. Here, this is me, this is my, and now there is no more errors. We have successfully signed up for our page. Now we can start coding our app. So in Next.js, if you don't know how routing works, okay, let me explain first. So I'm gonna delete this page. Actually, let me actually delete everything except like outer main tags. So we're gonna delete all of this, and I will save it. And let me just say hello world, and it's gonna immediately update. Now, page tsx is a reserved file name. So when you have a fold app and then page tsx, whatever is in page tsx will be displayed in the root of your Apex domain. And then of your root of your domain is what I mean. If you want to make /about, or let's say /new, because we want to make /new, we want to go here to app and create a new folder, new. And inside of that folder, we need to say page.tsx and sfc new. So sfc you can install in your extensions. You can install ES7 React Redux React Native snippets. So that's what I use. And you can maybe, I don't know if you need GitHub Copilot or whatever. So sfc will create const new and then empty arrow function, and we need to return a div hi. This is new page, and save it, and export default new. So you need to have export default for it to be a route. And now, because we have folder app and new route and page tsx, we can go to /new. So if I go to /new, this will be hi, this is new page. So content of this page tsx will be displayed. So that's how routes work. But for the purpose of organization, inside of app, we're going to create a new folder in these brackets. I'm going to call it homepage. So if the folder is in brackets, then it's ignored. Like this route, this is not going to be /homepage. This is ignored. This is just for organization. And then if I put page tsx into this homepage, then it will be as if this homepage is directly in this app, because it's in folder with brackets, so it's as if this route is ignored. So, and that's why, for example, if I create a new page.tsx file inside of app, now the React is going to think that we actually have two page tsx files in the same app file, or app folder, I should say. So this can cause errors, and this is going to conflict. So this, we cannot have a parallel page tsx in the same route. Let me delete this one. So let's delete everything in your page tsx inside of home folder, and let's start coding. So first this is gonna be use client, because we're gonna be using a lot of hooks. And I will show you what hooks are if you don't know. And then I'm just gonna make these imports, because I'm gonna explain what these are as we code. So first we will create so export default function home. So this can be the export default function or const and then arrow function, doesn't matter. This will be our page. And then I'm going to make a const store. Ignore this close brackets for a moment, because this is just my bad, but this shouldn't be here. When user loads the home page, we want to check if they are in the database. If they are not in the database, we want to store them. So we're going to make this const store. This will be a mutation. Mutation is, I think it's a function. So you can call a mutation and to like send stuff into the database. So mutations are editing, adding, deleting stuff from database. So we're going to say const store and then use mutation. So this is this use mutation from Convex React. So it's a mutation, it's a function from Convex React. And then we will pass in the mutation that we want to use. It's api.users.store. We did not code this yet, but we will code it soon. So this is just the mutation that's going to store our user into the database. I will show you how to make it. Then we will use routers. So after we store the user to the database, we don't want to leave them on the home page. We want to send them to /new here in the /new page, not on home page. So they can start a new chat. So we will not be using home page for anything except checking if user is stored and rerouting them. Let's use effect. So use effect, as soon as the page loads, we're going to do something. We're going to first store. And so, as I said, this is a mutation. This looks like a constant, but this is actually a variable that holds this function. So we can call this store like a function, and we will pass in empty object. So this empty object is empty object of what do you call props? So function props. So we don't need. So if I, for example, had to pass in user ID, username, but I don't need to pass any of that. I will show you why. So we don't need to pass in anything, just empty object, and we will be able to store the user. And then router push to new, so /new. So we will just push to /new here after the user is stored. And then let me just return loading. So loading, this is our loading state, loading screen. So we don't want to display anything while this is happening. We just want to show loading. Now let's create this, let me actually test this first. So I'm going to comment this row, and I'm going to say just return null. I think it does not matter if I say return null. So before we can test this, we need to go ahead and create this storing logic. So let me save all of this. Now we will see the error that that this store doesn't exist on Convex. So let's go to our Convex folder and say users.ts. But before we can, so we're gonna just put all of the operations with users in this folder, like storing the user, creating, retrieving user. Before that, we need to make some tables. Because if we go to convex.dev, we can see that we have no table. So we need to create a table for users and for messages, for chats, etc. So this is gonna be actually very easy. To define tables, we will not do it in this user.ts, but we will create a new file inside of Convex folder, schema.ts. So in the schema.ts, we will import a few files, and I will show you what they do. So define schema is from Convex server, and we will just define schema for our tables. So the first table is users, and then we call define table and pass in object. The fields of the table are token identifier. This is a token identifier from Clerk. It's unique for each user, and we will store that. Then email, full name, and image URL. So this is like profile image URL, and it's optional. Maybe they don't have it. So real quick, in your Clerk dashboard, go to user authentication, email, phone number, username, and I think go, where is name? So here, let's make name required, and go here and say required, continue, and save changes. Let's also add other tables that we are going to need. First we're gonna index by token. So this is so we can search users by token. If we have this, which we are going to have, we're gonna get token identifier of the currently logged in user from Clerk that has that's in the session, and then we're just gonna look through a table and search. Next, let's define table chats. So chats are gonna be between two users. Participant1 ID is gonna be v.id of users, and then participant2 ID is going to be also v.id of users. Okay, so we can search for by participant1 ID. I don't know why I called this. Oh wait, I think this is a mistake by me, but I think I should only pass participant1. But maybe we will fix this mistake later. We'll change, or maybe this will work. Basically, as it stands right now, this means that this, this is correct. I think so. This is the name by participant1 ID index, and then we pass in participant1 ID and participant2 ID. Or by participant2, we pass participant2 and then participant1. So this is how we find a chat between two users. And then message. So messages are inside of chats, and each message is going to have chat ID. This is one-to-many relation. So one chat can have many messages, and the best way to do that is inside of messages, point to the chat ID, to the chat. Then content of the message, this is like text, and then author ID, so user, the author of the message. index by chat ID. Look, I just want to say, if you don't understand this, it will be clearer, more clear later. So we can search messages by chat ID. So if we want to retrieve all messages from one chat and then display those messages in that chat, okay, that's it. So let's now we need to make many-to-many relation between users and chats. So one user can have multiple chats, or actually, yeah. So what I did here is, this is a different way to do this. So we're not going to use this. I just want to show you how you also make many-to-many relation. So you just make, because one user can have many chats, and in a chat can be many users. So it's many-to-many relation. The way you can do that is, you can just say user chats table and say chat ID and user ID. And this is one relation. And then you can just collect, for example, you need one chat, you say chat ID, and then you find all of the inputs where this chat ID is the chat that you need, and then you collect all of the users. Or you have user ID and you find all of the inputs where this user ID is one that you need, and then you collect all of the chats. But we will not use this method. We will use this method. This is way simpler method, but it's not as scalable. So this is good if you have only 2, because we only have 2 people in a chat. But if you have like 10, then it's better to use this. Because as you see right here in this method, you need to search separately if your user is participant 1, or if he's like on second place. Participant 1 ID, but on second place. So this may be a bit confusing, so don't worry, you will understand throughout this project. This might be the only kind of a bit confusing part, but every other part is quite simple. Let me save this schema, and here we can see that our convex functions are going to start updating. And they are ready. So now if we go to our convex, we can see that we have some tables here: chats, messages, user chats, users, but we will not be using this table at all, but let's just leave it there for now. So now let's go to users.ts and make this store function that will store currently logged in user into our users database, like users table. So in the users table, we're going to make 2 imports. Import convex error and v from convex values. I will explain both of them. And then import mutation and query, but we will only use mutation for now, from _generated server. First, let's define this function, export const store. That's a function that we will use here. And let's define it as mutation and pass in some object. In that object, we first need to pass in arguments. So we don't actually need any arguments for this, because we will just get the currently logged in user, and I will show you how. So we don't need to get any arguments from client. So arguments will be empty object. And here, these arguments, we need to pass them here. So when we call this store mutation, so as you can see, I said store, use mutation, and passed in the mutation. And then I need to invoke that mutation and pass in arguments. Arguments are empty object. So here, after arguments, we will create a handler. Handler is basically a function body that's we're gonna write what to do in this function. It's gonna be async. Okay, so const identity is await context auth get user identity. So this is how you get the currently logged in user. This context is a prop that gets passed into this handler by this mutation that we imported. And then I can console log identity. So it's gonna be null if nobody is logged in. So if not identity, if it's null, then throw new convex error, call store user without authenticated user. So nobody is logged in. Check if user is already stored, so we don't want to store him twice. Const user is await context.database, and then query users with index by token. So as you remember, in our schema file, we made index by token that let us search users by this token identifier. So that's what we want to do. We want to search if there is a currently logged in user with this unique token that's stored in the database. So that's how we do it. So we say Q and then arrow. Q equals token identifier is equal to identity.token identifier. So this will find a user that has this token identifier in our database if he exists. Then I'm going to say .unique, so this will execute this query, and it will actually return only one, because it must be only one user. If there are multiple users with this token identifier, it will throw an error, because I want it to throw an error because there shouldn't be multiple users. So unique will throw an error if there are more than one result. Okay, so if user is different from null, so if there is a user, one user, and we will just return user ID. You can also return user, but I want to keep it consistent because we will also later return user ID. So we will return user ID and that's it. We don't need to store anything. Const user ID is await context database insert. So when we are inserting a user into database, so if it's null, then there is no user. So if we are inserting, it's going to return user ID. So user ID is going to get automatically generated when we are inserting a user. We just need to pass in email, token identifier, and the fields. I will show you which fields. Okay, so this is how we insert a user. We say in users table and pass in object of props. Token identifier will be identity.token identifier. So if we go to our schema again, a schema like this, we see that we have a token identifier, which is vstring, email, full name, and image URL. So token identifier email is identity.email. We made email required in our data in our clerk. Then full name is identity.name. Image URL is identity profile URL. Now, if I remove this exclamation mark, this can be string or undefined, because Typescript does not know if we made this required, obligatory, in our clerk dashboard. So I just want to put exclamation mark to tell to Typescript that this will be defined. This will be a string. But profile URL, there is no exclamation mark, because this can actually be undefined. Because some people may not have profile pictures, we cannot enforce that. So here I said that this is optional. So this can be undefined. So it's not going to throw an error if it's undefined here, because it's optional field. And at the end, let's return user ID, because as I said, when we store this, it's going to automatically generate ID and return user ID. And that's it. Let's save it. And now it's going to prepare convex functions and upload them. And there is no more error here. So if I actually just go ahead, so there is no users here. If I just refresh, go back to here. And it's going to redirect me automatically, but there is no user stored. So let me try to debug. So we got cold store user without authenticated user. This is a bit weird. So let me first not redirect like this at all. Let me go back here. So, oh wait, it looks like we got added. So this is a bit weird. So why is it throwing the error? So if I refresh this, it's throwing the error that we are not authenticated. But if I go ahead and delete this user from users, if I refresh, it's gonna add us. So how is it throwing the error? I don't understand. For now, I'm just going to ignore this problem because it works. I don't know why it's throwing the error. So let's continue with coding something, the next thing, because this works. Let's code our loading state, loading screen. So in the page TSX, here in home page, we want to return this loading. So let me uncomment this, and let me uncomment this for importing loading. So add components auth loading. Let's create this component. So components, and one quick tip: if you wanna, you don't need to create folders and then files inside. You can just create a file and say auth/loading.tsx, and this will create auth folder for you. Inside of this loading tsx, let's import the image from next image. So this will be our loading screen. And then place this in the middle of the screen. But this is a bit weird because in our loading, I said flex, which will allow item center, justify center. So this should center it because I have flex. If you don't have flex, then this wouldn't work. And also I have full height and width, so this should center it in the middle of the screen, but it's not. So the reason it's not, let me show you something. If I say background green 500, this is the background for the whole page, and the background for the whole page is only this high. So we want to make the whole page actually the full page. And let me return background to white. So let's go to globals.css. And here on the top, you need to say root, HTML, body, to have height of 100%, and save it. And so now the height of this is 100%, so everything is centered. But be careful, if you do this before you install ShadCN, it will get reset, it will get deleted. So you need to do this after you install ShadCN. Let's go down here to client provider, and here I replaced auth loading children, but I'm gonna say loading now because loading, when user is loading, I'm just gonna say loading, and let me delete this extra. So this is the same line as the top one, so let me delete that. And now, well, if I refresh, it's gonna be the same because it's gonna be displaying this when both loading and after it's loaded on this route. But let's go to /new, and now it's gonna first display logo while it's loading, and then hi, this is a new page. Let's continue coding the /new page. So go here to app new page tsx and start the following. So const other users, we want to list all other users in our app that are not the currently logged in users, so the logged in user can click on a user and start a chat with them. So we're going to say use query api.users.list others. We don't have this defined. I will show you how to define and import all of this soon. Then if other users is undefined, return loading. So other users is null if there is no other users, but it's going to be undefined if it's still like querying the database. Okay, then return, and then we want to say main flex call, and then age 1, the title will be select a user to start a chat with. These are the like styles, big text, font, bold, etc. And then we want to show the list of all other users, so it will be a grid calls 5 columns, gap 10. other users question mark dot map. So if other users are not null, so I think we don't need question mark because we are checking if it's undefined, or it will be, I'm not sure if it can be null or empty array. Okay, so dot map other user, and then say user card passing key other user dot ID, and other user is other user. We will make this card. So let me for now just import this use query like this, and API. Okay, so let's go to users and create this list other users. So let me save this for a moment and go to users.ts, but this one, it's in our app, not the other directory. So let's start by export const list other users. It will be a query, and then arguments will be empty object, handler function. Const, so we are checking if a user is logged in currently, so const identity is get user identity, and if not identity, called current user. This should be list other users, not current user, without authenticated user. Return, then we want to return all of the other users that are not the logged in users. So return await context.database.query users, and then filter. We want to filter for all the other users that are not this user. So passing q, and then q.not equal, and then q.field token identifier is not equal to identity.token identifier. So all the other users, and then collect. That's it. Let me just really change. So list user others, called list others without authenticated user, and put this here. Back to our new page, we see that now this exists. Just make sure to have convex dev npx convex dev running, so convex functions are ready here. Let's now create this user card component, but before that I just want to show you what we did. So I want to just say like div here and say other users, or just other user dot full name, and I want to display other user dot full name, and I need to pass in key. Always need to have a key, other user dot ID, like this. I want to show you this error. So create context only works in client components. We need to say use client. So that happens when we say use query, use mutation, and others in a component that doesn't have use client on the top. So you need to have use client here. So here select a user to start a chat with, and there is no currently logged in users because we are the only user actually in the whole database. So let's actually add a navigation bar where we have our profile icon, account icon, that we can log in and log out and change account. So go to your side, below the app we have components. Inside go to navbar / index.tsx. First we will import user button from clerk Next.js. Then we will export const navbar, and we will return this user button. So if let's also just give it some kind of div. So height 75 pixels of our navbar, flex justify end. So this will be on the right side, item center, and then padding and background color. And now let's add this navbar to the new. So I'm gonna go here page, and I'm gonna say layout.tsx. So inside of layout, we will import navbar from add components navbar, and then we will make interface new layout props, and then that's gonna have children React node, and then export default function new layout, and then extract children and give it type new layout props. So it's gonna be these children, and then return div width full height full navbar. So navbar will be on the top. Let me save this immediately. Now we will only see navbar because we are not rendering the children. So let's make a main, and flex with full height full sidebar. We don't have sidebar yet. Okay, so you can see our navbar here. So I can log out, sign out. So this is our navbar. So we don't have sidebar yet, so just leave it there for a moment. And then another div that's gonna be our main content, so next to the sidebar. Padding left 300 pixels because sidebar will be 300 pixels wide here on the left. And then just pass in children, so render children. But let me comment out this sidebar for now because we don't have it. So now this is what it looks like. This isn't centered, but there will be a sidebar here, so this will look centered when there is a sidebar. What I quickly want to do is now go here and log out, sign out, so I can register with a few more email accounts, so I have more users to display. And I registered, I just forgot in our, with another Google account, but I forgot in our homepage page, I need to return this pushing. So just push to new, like this. And as you can see, now that I'm registered on this account is getting pulled and shown in our, as we were showing the name. So let me actually sign out and add one more account. So continue with Google. Since I made full name obligatory, it will just ask me. So I don't know what my, like whatever clerk or whatever the last name is. Continue. And now it will register me into the database. And now we have Jensen, Smith, Wook, Rosic. And we have this account. So now let's create a user card, a nice card that will display the user. So in here where we have new, let's make a new file, and that's gonna be components. So this is gonna be a folder underscore component slash user dash card.tsx. So as I said, if we have an underscore folder, then that folder will be ignored in the route and everything inside of that. So if I say new slash underscore components, that will not exist. And whatever I have inside about, that will not exist in the route. So let's start. We're gonna do a bunch of imports. Now, you don't need to write these imports manually. You can just import them as you write the code below. So you don't need to like write this right now. So let's start with the code. First, we will say interface user card props. That will be other user, and that will be doc users. So we defined our table, our object table in our schema.ts. So this is how we can access it with doc. So this is gonna, I will show you schema.ts. So if you want these users that have fields, token identifier, that's string, email, string, full name, string. So that's how you get that type. So doc users. And let's open a terminal real quick. So we need to install these two from ShadCN card and avatar. So npx ShadCN -ui at latest add card and avatar. So while this is installing, let's continue here. Export const user card and give it the structure other user from user card props. So other user will be just the user that's displayed in this card. So as you remember, let me actually save this. Let me, okay, no, let's not do that. Let's go here and say new, and let's delete this and uncomment this user card, and let's import user card like this. So other user will be other user. So we are mapping all the other users that we are gonna display here, and then one by one we just display them in the card. So let me go ahead and continue coding this. Export const other user. Okay, so const chat, use mutation, API chats get or create. So when we click on another user, we wanna get or create a chat with them. So if there is no chat, we just create the new chat. If there is, we just get it, but this will just initiate the mutation. This will not actually get or create the chat. So we're gonna call this mutation later when user clicks on a card. Router, use router. This is just to redirect the user on the towards the new chat when they click. Handle click. So when we click the card, we're gonna say const chat ID is await chat. So now we are invoking this mutation, invoking it, and we are gonna pass in other user ID. Other user ID is gonna be other user ID, and so that will get or create a chat with that user, and then we will router push to just slash chat ID. So this will be, instead of slash new, it will be chat ID, whatever the ID is with this user between two of us that I clicked on. And then return. Okay, so return a card that we are installing from ShadCN. And then let me, it's gonna be flex items. Okay, so all the good stuff. Then card content. We can have card header, card title, whatever, but we don't need that now. Flex call, item center, justify center, padding, gap y, pg. So if you don't know what any of these means, like I just suggest you try removing them and see what happens. This is background. This is aligning items, but you must have flex in order for this to work. This is padding. This is gap between each item. So name, picture, button, whatever. So, and then we have div, and then flex gap 5, avatar. Okay, so we want to display the picture of the user. So let me save this. I don't know if it's going to throw an error because we have this error. Yeah, I think it will throw an error. But anyways, oh wait, maybe it's not gonna. Okay, so here we have two users, so two pictures are shown currently. And we wanna say avatar image is other user.image URL. So if I, okay, let me return. So if I save this, is it gonna show the image of the other user? We'll see. But if there is no image, we're gonna say avatar fallback. So if there is no image URL that doesn't exist, we will just say other user dot full name, the first character. So the first character of the other user will be shown instead of the image. And then below that, we wanna just say other user full name. Yeah, so this is the first character. And then I wanna save this. Okay. So why is it showing only one? That's weird. We'll see. And then below that, I want to say button. So import button. So you can import all of these like as you code them. So import button, but it's important. Import button from /UI button, not from Radix. Don't import these components from like avatar and other things from Radix. Import them from UI avatar, components UI avatar. Okay. No, that's not it. Okay, so that should be it. Yeah, now if I go here, everything is shown. So now everything works. So looks like this is not adjusted to mobile. So I think go to new page TSX. So just like new, so here in the new page TSX, and here where you say grid calls 5, let's do this differently. I'm just gonna paste it here. So we're gonna say grid calls 1 by default. So this will be the smallest screens. It starts from the smallest screens. So it will be only one column. But on medium screens, we will have 3 columns. And on extra large screens, we're gonna have 5 columns. You can also add in between. So you can say small screens, grid calls 2, like this. And you can add one for LG to have 4 columns. So this is going to do the following. Now it's going to be adapting to screen size. Okay. So before we do this sidebar, let's actually make it so that when I click on this, it pushes me to the chat with this person. So for that, we need to go create a new file chats, and create this get or create method. Let's go to Convex, chats.ts, and open that. So we will start with a few imports, but you don't need to import this manually. You can import this as you code. So mutation from generated server and v from convex values. Okay, so let's say export const get or create, and that will be a mutation. So mutations are for editing, adding data in the database, deleting data and stuff. Okay, so arguments, we're gonna need other user ID. And then we have other user ID and currently logged in user ID. And we will find a chat between two of them or create a one if there isn't any. Const identity. So we get the currently logged in identity. If there is nobody logged in, we throw an error. Then we want to query users. So query users. So this is the logged in user, but we need to get this user from our database as well. So we need to get this user's ID so we can create chat between this user and the other user, because this identity, this is not from our database, this is just from Clerk. And so we need to use this identity to get the user from our database and read this user's ID in our database. So we were gonna say query with index by token, where token identifier, okay, we did this already a few times, I think it's clear. And then it must be unique or throw an error if there is multiple with same token identifier. If there is no user, user not found. Okay, then let's query chats. So chats, so query chats. Okay, this is gonna be a bit, don't get scared. So this will get query all chats, and we need to filter. So if I go to schema, our schema, we see that we do this chats in a unique way. We have participant 1 ID, participant 1 user 1 ID, and user 2 ID. So when we create a chat between two users, it can, depending on like randomness, the first user can be assigned to participant 1 or participant 2, or both users. Any user can be, we don't know which one the current user is, 1 or 2, because that's how we create chats. We just randomly assign. So we need to check if currently logged in user is participant 1 of this chat. So we are checking this for every chat. Or the currently logged in user is participant 2. And so we are checking, so we have Q or and then two ends. So the first end is logged in user is participant 1, the other user is participant 2, or other user is participant 1 and logged in user is participant 2. So, and then that's gonna be the correct chat if any of these are fulfilled. And then it must be unique because there must not be multiple chats. If chat, return chat ID. And so if chat exists, so we return chat ID, and then we will use that chat ID when user clicks on send message here to just redirect the user to that chat with the URL in the title. Or if there is no chat, then we will create one. So insert, so context database insert into chats, and this is the object. Participant 1 ID is going to be user ID, participant 2 will be other user. So depending which one, so let's say we have Vuk and Jensen, depending on which one is logged in, if they click each other, maybe this one will be participant 1, maybe this one will be participant 1, depending who's logged in and who creates the chat first. So it can be both cases, that's why we are checking for both cases. And return chat ID at the end. That's it, save. Now we should have this, yeah, it works. So now if I go ahead and if I say, for example, this send message is gonna maybe take a little bit of time, and it will redirect me to the chat with this person. Now, we did not code this page. It's not gonna show anything, but there is a new chat in our database. This chat now exists. So let me go back, and as you can notice, if I click on send message, actually we want the button to be disabled, so I cannot click multiple times while it's creating the chat loading. Now we have two chats. So let's make it so that this button is disabled when when the mutation is executing. Let's go outside, just click somewhere on the outside and say a new file, hooks/use-api-mutation.tsx, or just ts. Let's do a few imports, but you don't need to import them now. Just export const use API mutation, and this will receive mutation function to be any. Now, I'm not sure how to do this without using any, so if you know, please comment below. Const pending and set pending. That's going to be use state false. So basically what we will do in this function is we will pass in our mutation function. Let's say, I think it's here. Yeah, we have, for example, this mutation, get or create. We wanna, we wanna actually have state of pending, and when we have state pending, we will just set button disabled when pending. So we will modify this. Instead of saying chat, we will say differently. So we're gonna say mutate and pending. And then instead of use API mutation, we will say, instead of use mutation, we will say use API mutation and import it like this. Okay, so now we will have mutate and pending. And so this mutate, let's just rename it to chat, for example, so we keep it consistent. And then pending, so we want to go to button and say disabled is equal to pending. So when pending is true, the button will be disabled. Now let's just do all of this. So use API mutation, we are passing in this mutation function to our API mutation. So it will be any. Then we have pending, set pending. And then we have API mutation, will be use mutation, and then mutation function. So as you remember, we used use mutation here. We will just, instead of here, we will pass the whole function and use mutation, use it here. So this is the function that we just passed, it's the same. Then we will say const mutate is equal to, and then payload any. So the payload is, wait, what the hell was payload? I forgot, sorry. I think is it arguments? We'll see. Okay, so when the mutation starts, we will set pending to true. And then we will return API mutation payload. So those are, I think those are arguments that we are passing. So for example, empty object or user ID, whatever. Okay, so when this API mutation, yeah, those are arguments. So when it executes, and those arguments, if you are wondering, they are right here. This is it. So this is the payload that we are sending. So chat, when we invoke this mutation, mutate, this is the payload that we are sending. So I had a problems with Mike, so I just finished this function. So I will explain. So payload that we are sending. So we are invoking this mutate function. I think you should first code this and then I will explain. So we have this then, and we return result, catch, throw error, finally set pending false, and return mutate and pending. Let me try to explain one more time. This is a bit complex. So first, we are, so we have use API mutation, and we are passing in the mutation that we want it to be using. So we are initializing mutation. So this mutation is gonna get passed here, mutation function any. I don't know how to make this without any. If you know, please tell me in the comments. Okay, so this mutation function that we passed, we will initialize with use mutation from Convex React, what we were doing here. We were using use mutation, so just initialize this mutation with this mutation function, and we will store it into API mutation. We will also have pending and set pending to be false by default. And then mutate. So this function, we will call this function mutate. We will call it when we call this. So this is the mutate function that we extract from use API mutation. Here you can see that this mutate function we are returning. So we are returning mutate and pending. So we are returning this mutate function so we can call it from outside. So we extract that mutate function, but I just rename it to chat. So here I say await chat. So here I'm calling this mutate function. So this chat, this is actually calling this mutate function, is just renamed. And I'm passing in this object. So this is the payload. It's an object, user, other user ID. So we call this function and we pass in this payload. I don't know how to do this without any. Again, please tell me if you do know. Set pending. That's going to be true. So we start with pending. And then return API mutation. So now we call this API mutation that we initialize. So our use mutation with the payload that we passed in. And if there is result, we will return result. So where will this return to? It will return to here, chat ID. So when we call this mutation, we get result into this chat ID. Error, throw error, finally set pending false, and we return mutate and pending. So if you don't understand this, it's difficult. If you do it like maybe 5 times, you will understand it better. It took me a few weeks, but of doing it 3, 4, 5 times, so now I understand it. And now we have pending, and just say button disable pending, disable is equal to pending. Now since my recording was messed up, I don't know if I showed you when I wrote this and when I wrote like this, and then chat and this. So just make sure you have the same code. Now let me test it. So I'm gonna go and delete both of my chats from my Convex, and if I go here, it should be disabled for a quick moment, and it is disabled for a quick moment. We didn't make this page, but that's okay. And let's make a chat here. It's gonna be disabled for a quick moment, and we have both of the chats. Now let's make this sidebar that will show all of our active chats that we have. So let's go to the code, go to components, make a new file, sidebar slash index.tsx. We will also make a new file and say chat-list.tsx and chat-box.tsx. Let's go to index first. Let's start by use client. So this must be use client because we will be using hooks. And then some imports. You don't need to import it now. So export const sidebar, and then return, and then just a div that's gonna be fixed on our screen. No matter where we scrolled, it will be always fixed. So top and left, flex call, width 300 pixels, height full, background gray 800, and chat list. So we actually don't need these two imports. I don't know why I imported them. Okay, so we need to have this chat list component. So if I save this, well, let's create this chat list component. So go here where we created this chat list and open that. In chat list, let's start with some imports. Again, you don't need to import them now. You can import them as you code. I think we don't need use client because parent has use client of this chat list. But let's just keep it there. So export const chat list. I think I can just save this immediately and then import it here like this. And now there should be no errors. But there is an error because we are missing return statement. So first, so we're gonna list all chats user has on the sidebar. So we need to get all of these chats from the database. So chats is gonna be use query, API chats list by current user. So we don't need to pass in any arguments because we can get the currently logged in user in the database function. We will make this function soon. Current user is gonna be equal to API users current user. We will make this as well. Router, use router. And as you can see, I'm importing these things as I'm coding them. Okay, so first, if chat is undefined, return loading. If current user undefined, return loading. So you should know that in Convex, if something is undefined, it's still being queried. So you can say loading. But if it's null, then it's not found. Okay. Then we want to say const user chats, chats.filter, and chat. And then the way we want to filter is chat.participant1 is equal to chatUsers.id, or chatParticipant2 is current user.id. So this will filter all of the chats of the current user. Now, honestly, I'm not sure why I'm filtering it here instead of in the database. I'm not sure. Or maybe it will be filtered already. So this is a bit confusing. We will see how I code this function. I think this should be already filtered by the current user, but we'll see. But it just going through all chats and checking which chat contains current user as either participant1 or participant2. Okay, return and then make a fragment. and then we're gonna make a button. And on click, so when we click, so this will be a bunch of chats. So when we click on the chat, we will push. Why did I say this? Oh yeah, so this button is not gonna be the chat button. This will just be like to go back to home page. So on click, just push back to home page. And then we have some styles. So if I save this, I think it will not still be displaying anything. So if I save this, we have this sparkles icon from Lucid React. And then just all chats like title. So this will be our... Oh wait, the reason it's not displaying is we need to go into the layout. So let's go into the layout. Here in new layout, and we need to import this sidebar here. Uncomment and import from component sidebar like this. Now it's showing us error that list by current user, this doesn't exist. We didn't make it yet, so let's just bear with me for now. We will fix it. Okay, below this go to homepage button, we will make a new div, and we will make y to be 3 space or y, and then user chats.map. So we are mapping all of the users chats. And then we're gonna say chat box key chat. We're gonna pass in the whole chat object and current user. Yeah, that's it. So this, we finished this chat list file. Now let's, I would say, let's next create the chat box file. So let's go to chat box. This is gonna be box for each chat. Start with use client. These are some imports that we can import not now, but as we go. But let me just copy this date f and s, and let me npm install this date f and s. While that's installing, let's continue. So we're gonna say interface chatbox props. It's gonna be chat and then doc chat. So doc is, as I said, that's our schema for the table. That's how we can get that type. And current user will be doc users. So here we are passing in the chat box. We are passing chat. We are passing chat and current user. So we're gonna get chat and current user. So we are gonna extract. This is a different way to extract this. So you can say chat box is gonna be react.fc and then checkbox props and then equal and then extract it here. So router will be use router, but import router from next/navigation. And I forgot to tell you, always import router if you are using app router app folder here from next/navigation. If you say this from next/router, it's not gonna work and you're gonna get an error. And I forgot to tell you this before, so maybe you struggle with it. Sorry for that. Okay. Then other user ID. So we need to check. So in this chat, there will be participant 1 ID and participant 2 ID. So we need to check which one is current user, currently logged in user, and which one is the other user. So we want to display messages of the currently logged in user to the right and the other user to the left, for example. So other user ID. Chat.participant1 is equal to current user ID question mark. So if participant 1 is currently logged in user, then other user is participant 2. Once we have other user ID, we will just get that whole user object. So other user is going to be use query API users get and pass in the ID. So we will get the whole user object with full name and everything. Then we will handle click. So this will be a list of chats in the sidebar. And when logged in user clicks on a chat, we want to go to that chat. So just push chat.id. We will use callback just to memorize this, so we don't need to re-render this many times. Okay, then make a return statement. So this is the first div. With full relative flex item centers. This is just like how to display this chat box. And then we want to display other user full name. And we also want to display the image of the user. So the source will be other user profile URL. And if there is no image, then we will just display first character of the user's name. Now let's start implementing these few functions. So in chat list, we need to go ahead and implement these two functions. So go to chats, copy this, and go to chats. So we did this many times. It should not be too hard. Export const list by current user. That's going to be a query. Empty object as arguments and handler function. Get current logged in identity. If there is no identity, there is nobody logged in, unauthorized. Let's get the currently logged in user. So we need to get all of the chats of the currently logged in user. So query users, they await context database query users with this token, with this current token. So that's identity token identifier, and then it must be unique. That's how we get our user from our database using our clerk token. If there is no user, we couldn't find user in the database. Okay, chats first part. Okay, we need to scan all of the chats. And in our chats, but our currently user, so we're gonna use the ID of the currently logged in user from our users table to scan chats. So first we will check if all of the chats where participant 1 has the ID of the current user. So that's going to be the first part, chats first part. Query chats where with index by participant 1 ID. Participant 1 ID is current user ID. And collect all of those chats. So all of the chats where participant 1 is the current user. And for participant 2 as well, all of the chats where participant 2 is current user with current user ID, and collect all of them. And then merge both of them. So just do it like this. And then return chats. So that will return all of the chats of the currently logged in user. We need to import this. Yeah, okay, so it works now. Let's also code a function that lets us get chat by chat ID. So export const get chat query. Arguments is going to be chat ID, which will be v.id chats. And handler function. Okay, so getting identity. Okay, and then getting current user. Current user is going to be like query users by this identity must be unique. Couldn't find current user in the database. Okay, const chat. Okay, so we need to go await context get. Okay, so arguments.chat ID. This is the ID of the chat. If you have ID of something in the database, you can just use context.database.get and pass in the ID. You don't need to pass in table name, anything, just the ID. So this will be our chat. It can be all of this or null. If there is no chat, we will throw convex error, or you can just say error, chat not found. I'm going to import this later. Okay, now I also want to not just chat, but all of the messages inside of chat. And I want to say chat.messages like this. I want to have it like that, but I don't have it in chat, so we need to do it manually. So we're going to query all messages that have this chat ID. So each message will have in our schema here messages have chat ID. Query all messages by chat ID, collect. Okay, let's go next. What did I do? Okay, so messages with users relation. So I will explain why it's called this way. So we're gonna map each message map, and then the type of the message will be like this message doc the messages. Okay, const user. It's gonna be context database get message.author ID. So author ID is the ID of the user. And then if there is no user, then user doesn't exist, but message exists. It's a bit weird. So we want to get the author of each message also. So we can display on our screen who sent the message, like the name and the image. And we want to attach each author of the message to the message. So we wanna have message.author to be a user object. So we will just return spread the message and user. So this is gonna be messages with users relation. So that's gonna be whole message object, and then we also have user. Now, this is gonna return a bunch of promises. So we need to resolve those promises in the following way. Const message with users, messages with users is await promise all messages with users relation. And then we will return chat and messages with users. So this object is gonna have chat, and it's also gonna have messages, and this message will have user. So let me import all of this so we have proper types and everything. So let me, if I save this real quick, let me go. So if I go ahead and hover over this get chat, we see what we get. We are getting chat object and messages with user. So it has message, it has user, and we're gonna use this, but not now. I just made this function, but we will use this function later. Now, if we go to chatbox, we need to make this users.get with user ID. So let's go to users.ts. It's actually gonna be very simple. So export const get query, arguments will be just user ID, and then handler function. So get the currently logged in user, just to check if anybody is logged in. So we don't want to execute anything if there is nobody logged in. And then we just want to say return await context database get with user ID. So we will return this user object. We are not using this identity, we are just checking if somebody is logged in. So we get user ID, we return the user object. That's it. Now this is fixed. If we just go down below in chatbox, it's not profile URL, it's image URL. And we have just one more in chat list, users.currentUser. So let's go to users.ts. I invite you to try to do this alone. So I will just show you this. Current user will be query, no arguments, handler function. So how do you do this alone? Okay, I will show you right now how to do it. First, you get the identity. We do this all the time. And then you just query users with this token, identity.token identifier, and return unique. That's it. This is our function. If I save this. And guys, now we have this displaying on the sidebar. So our sidebar works. And if I go ahead and click, what happens? I don't know. Let's see. We are getting redirected to the chat with this user. Yes, okay, so that's it. So this is gonna list all of our chats, and then we can click it and get redirected to the chat. And then if I say all chats, we will go back to like /new. So this should redirect. So in the chat list, let's redirect down below where it says router push /new, like this. And if I go ahead and delete this chat, for example, then it will not exist here. So if I go ahead and create a chat, then it will exist there. So next we will call this chat page. So here we can see that it exists. I just want to say congratulations if you got to this part. We have done a lot. Not sure how, is this half of the video, is it not? But I know that we have done a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and in the app, let's make a new file and say square brackets chat ID /page tsx. So this route that is in square brackets will work for anything. So no matter, so this must be /new, but this can be anything. And we will be able to get this chat ID inside of this page tsx. I will show you everything. So I will show you what this square bracket means better when we code it. So page tsx, let me start by saying use client, and then these imports, you can ignore them for now. Let's say interface, chat props. That's gonna be parameters, chat ID. So as I said, when we click here on the chat, we're gonna go to that chat. So we want to read this ID from the URL, and we wanna then get like the whole chat based on that ID. So the way we're gonna do that is we can just say interface There are different ways as well, but this is one of them. So parameters, and then there's going to be the chat ID. And we are giving it this ID chats because it must be the exact value of one of these IDs. If it's not, it's not gonna work, gonna throw an error. Okay, so export default chat page, but we didn't define this chat page, so let's define that. Const chat page is gonna be params and then chat props. Okay, so first we will get the chat object with use query, API chats get chat, and pass in the params. So we just made this, you can go and here, so it's this one that we just made a few moments ago. It's this one, get chat, it will get chat ID and return the whole like chat and messages with users and everything. Okay, then we will go current user, that's gonna be API users current user, no empty object as arguments. So if chat is undefined or current user is undefined, we are loading, as I said. If any of them is null, then it's not in the database. Return, and then we're gonna say height full, and then make a new div and say height full flex call, and then so we wanna display body of the like messages are gonna be displayed in the body, the messages, and then form will be the input field to send the message at the bottom, and that's it. So currently we don't actually have either body or form. So let me do a few things here. First I'm gonna comment, I think I don't need to comment out, I think it will work. Yeah, it's not gonna work. So let me comment out body, and let me leave form for now, and let me actually comment out body here as well, and let me comment out form because, and comment out form here because I want to first just show whatever I can. So hi, this is chat page. So if I go here and it's gonna say hi, this is chat page. Now let's see what happens if I just change this to like some random string. It should also, yeah, the problem is this API chats get chat throws an error because this parameter is not a valid ID like that exists in the database. We are checking it with this. Let's add sidebar to the side here. So we have all of the chats before we continue with coding the main body. So next to page, let's make layout.tsx, and I want to say that this, we are very deep and into this project, so it's not going to be too much harder. So we want to import navbar from components navbar, sidebar from add component sidebar, or you can do it like this, or just say add here. And then interface chat layout props children. So layouts in Node.js, Next.js, you can read about it, but layouts are going to receive the whole page as children. So then just define the chat layout function and then destructure children, return div navbar. So at the top, let me save this, it will work immediately. And then main flex height full sidebar. Let me save this as well, it should work as well. And then we say like the padding left 300, we want to render children like this. Okay, so this should render everything. So this is it. So we have the sidebar, we can choose chats. This is chat page, so we will display our messages here and our input here, and you can change the name of this navbar if you, the color of this navbar if you want. Let's start coding the body and the form, input form. So let's go to chat ID and say underscore components slash form.tsx. Let's start by saying use client and these imports. We can import them later. So interface form props author ID, ID users, and chat ID is going to be ID chats. And then export const form and destructure those two props. And then const content and set content. So this is going to be input field, and content will be like the message of the chat. So use state string, default empty string. And then you say mutate and pending from use API mutation that we defined. And the mutation we will use is API messages send. We don't have this yet, so we will make it. Let's actually make this immediately. So let's go here to convex down below and say messages.ts. This will be the quickest and simplest one. So import v from convex values, mutation from this one, and then export const send mutation and pass in object. So arguments are going to be content, that's going to be the text of the message, author ID who sent the message, chat ID of the message. And then handler, we're going to get in context and arguments, const, chat ID, content, author ID, we will destructure that from arguments. And then await context database insert, so we will just insert into messages table, and what we will insert is the following: chat ID, content, and author ID. So because these fields have the same names as variables, so the field chat ID and variable chat ID have the same names, so we don't need to like do this, because we can just, they have same names, so we can do this. Other little trick, you can destructure this, not here, but you can destructure this instead of arguments like this directly. So this is our send, message sending. Okay, so this should work now. Let's see what's next. Handle submit, submitting the message. If content is empty string, let's just not send us empty message. Okay, so then we will mutate. I explained this use API mutation earlier in the video, so we will just mutate and then send content, author ID, and chat message. So we have content defined, author ID we get from like parent component, and chat ID from parent component, where we will import this, we will implement this, I will show you soon, if you don't understand where these two come from. Then set content, so we want to, when somebody sends the message, we want to just empty the input field. And then if there is error, console log error. Okay, so let's make some HTML, so return. Okay, so first we make a div, and let me see, it's going to be fixed on the bottom of the screen no matter where we scroll. This is background, border, flex, item. So let me save this, and let me go to here and page tsx of chat ID, and let me import form like this from components form, and let me put it here. So we will pass in author ID, that's going to be current user.id, so whoever sent the message. And then chat ID will be chat.chat.id. Now this is a bit confusing, so if we go here to chat, get chat, so we need to go into chats. Here we are, we see that we return chat and messages with users, and that's going to be like this object. So we call this mutation chat, so chat, like if I say chat mutation, then I can say here chat mutation.chat.id, because chat mutation is returning this like chat object. And let me also see what chat mutation has. So it has messages with users and chat. Yeah. Just make sure to also rename this. Or I don't know if this is a good, this is not a good name probably, like chat object or something, chat object. Or full chat object, full chat, or sorry, chat with messages. I think this is the best name, maybe. Let's continue. At the bottom, we only have this small div. Maybe you don't even see it on YouTube, but we don't have input field. So we have this div. So let's create another div. So this div will contain, will be flex item center gap 2. So this will contain input field and the button for sending the message. And let's create another div. So we're gonna say input, and let me save this. Input will have placeholders send message, so you see now it works. And then let's give it some class names so it looks better. like content black, font light, all of this, like background, focus, outline, none. So if I focus this, if I save first, and then I focus, there is no outline. And then value will be content, and don't change set content. So this is the classic React variable controlling with input field. And then on key down, so if I press enter, I also want to send the message on enter. So if e.key is enter, e prevent default, handle submit. So we will just handle submit. In handle submit, it will send the currently typed in content as new message. Some people say don't write functions like this in line, but you should extract this into like a separate function. But I think it's so small, it's so clear that we can just do it here. Okay, maybe it's even like easier to understand. We don't need to search where the function is. And then this button, this is type submit for sending the message, and then give it some class names, and then on click handle submit and disable pending. So pending is gonna happen when message is being submitted. So during the submitting of the message. And then this is send icon. So content white. So this is send icon from Lucid React send. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so that's it. If I save this, if I go ahead and say hi, I pressed enter, send the message. If I go here to messages, we have our first message that says content hi. This is the second message. Let me send this, and you see it appeared here. We were not able to see this send like button, so what I changed is first I changed class name text blue 600 in the send, and I also changed here on the top where I say like this second div, I set w width to be calc. Let me expand this so you can see better. Calc 100% minus 350 pixels. So just change this. And now no matter like how wide your screen is, it will always be here on this button. Guys, we are getting towards the end. Let's now display messages on the screen. In the components of chat ID, next to form, let's make body.tsx. And now let's go to page tsx, and I'm going to import this body. And I'm gonna do this here. And I also wanna remove this hi. This is chat page, we don't need that. So I adjust this chat, should be a chat with messages, and then dot messages with users. So that's what we should pass to body. And now this body doesn't exist, or there is no exports in it, so let's go back to the body and let's start coding the body. So these are some imports, and then interface body props is going to be messages with user type. So we don't have this type, but we will define it. Okay, below let's export const body messages, the structure from body props. Const bottom ref is going to be use ref, HTML div element null. So we just want to use this to scroll to the bottom when new messages come in. Okay, so scroll to the bottom when messages change, so use effect, import them from this use ref, use everything from React, and when messages change, if bottom ref.current, if it exists, the reference, bottom ref.current.scroll into view, behavior smooth. We will just scroll to the bottom, and now we will make that div that references the bottom, so let's say return, and then make a new div. Flex one means it will fill the whole available content in that particular direction. Is it towards up and towards down or towards right? Well, in our case, it's going to be towards down because we have flex call, as I remember. So here in the page where we are passing in body, we have this flex call, flex call. So it's gonna flex one is gonna extend itself towards down. If it was no flex call, then towards right. So it's gonna, this container is gonna get extended. This is the bottom reference. So we're gonna put this at the bottom of this container. So it's gonna always scroll this into view. And above this, we're gonna put messages. So messages.map message and index. And we're gonna say message box. So we will display each message in a message box. And we'll pass in isLast, I is equal to, I think we are not using this actually. So this is just checking if it's the last message, but I don't think we are using this. We're gonna delete this maybe. Okay, key of the message and then message, so message. Now this message is gonna be this full message type. So let's go create this types file. Let's go outside of everything and say types/index.ts. Import doc ID from convex generated data model. Export type messages, message, no, it's one message with user type. It's gonna be equal to doc messages, and we're gonna extend doc messages with user. So doc users, save it. And that means it's gonna work here. So if I say here messages, let me see what we got. If I say dot, well, it's an array. So let me take the first message. And then we have user. So we have the message, content, chat ID. This is the whole message. And then it's extended with user as well. And it's, we need to say 0 here because as you can see here, it's an array. Now we need to create this message box. So let me copy this. Go here into components, new message box.tsx. So we're gonna need some imports, use client. Interface message box props will be message with user type. And if I go here, let me go back into body tsx. We will not need, as I said, we will not need this isLast at all. Let's just delete it. So we just have key and then messages. Okay, so let's go next in the message box. Export default message box and let's define it. So extract this side. We explained this a few times. Current user. So use query API users current user. So we get the currently logged in user from our database. If user is undefined, return loading. If user is null, return unauthorized. Okay, so let's check if the message is our own. If it's our own message, we will display it on the right. If it's other user's message, we will display it on the left. So is own is message.user.id is current user ID. If it's true, it's own. If it's false, then it's not own. Okay, so let me make some, I think it's best if we just write these. So we have a few styles here. Wait, sorry. So we have container styles. So this is just going to be a string of our Tailwind styles, Tailwind classes. We are using CLSX to connect classes. So this class will have flex, gap, and padding. But if it's own, we will also have justify end. So we display this message on the end, on the right. And then avatar string is going to be so it's going to be just if it's own, we have order to. Body, if you don't know what these are, I will show you in the code. So we have flex, and then if it's own, items go to the end. Okay, message style. This is also the style, so CLX. So we will always have text small with W fit overflow hidden. But if it's own, we will say background scribe. So this is one message, one color for own messages and the other color for other users' messages. And I said false question mark, so obviously this is not needed. This doesn't do anything because it's false. So it's rounded full. Well, we will fix this. Let me just continue. Okay, so return and then container. Let me save this. I think this should display something immediately. So container class name. Okay, then we have something. So this is the container. So this class name, this is these class names. Class name avatar and then avatar. So we set this up avatar multiple times. throughout the video: source, alt, fallback, and then class name. So this is body of the message, So here we have avatar, we have our own messages. And then we have class name is message style. So these are message style, and message content. Okay, so here you can see our hi. This is the second message. Yo, it works. It already works. Okay, let me go back and continue with this. Then we have something else, which is gonna be, so this is gonna display the date of the message. If I save, we're gonna display the date soon. So why is it, oh, okay, so here, the date of the message when it's sent. So everything in the database has this creation date, creation time. So we can just read this. And we need to convert it using this like format. So this format is imported from datefns. New date and then message of creation time. So this is it. Now the only thing is we don't have any like the other user messages. So let me log into the other user and let's send some messages. So let me log into this account and send some messages. Here I logged in the other account, and which one did I think is this one? So this is the conversation. You see what it looks like when the other person is sending hello. And now, you know, it works. Let me just remove this ugly pink background. I don't know why I put this here. So in layout, in chat ID layout, let's remove this background red 200. I think I just put it there to see what's happening. And now this is important. If I go ahead and send a few messages, it's gonna keep scrolling to the last message. So here if we go to all chats, and I will also go here to app layout, and it's not there, it's in a new layout, and remove this red background as well. And it should look a lot better. So if you wanna center these, this is actually grid box, so I'm not sure how to center these. I tried this, but it doesn't work. So tell me in the comments how to center this if you know. That's it. This is a quick project. Thank you for watching. You can now keep building off of this. If you are interested, check out my page where I do a one-on-one coaching, group coaching, etc. and school community. Subscribe and see you in the next video.